In early January, my father found an ordinary bat in the entrance of an ordinary house. More precisely, according to all the characteristics of this, let's say the red evening bird breed, and there are more than 1,000 species of bats in total. Under normal conditions, bats hibernate in winter and they enter a state of suspended animation, cooling the body to ambient temperature. In addition, the insects that make up the diet of bats simply disappear during the winter, so what else is left for them? But this winter is hardly sustainable. The constant change of frosts and thaws adds problems to the bats. When the temperature is above zero outside, they wake up and begin to consume subcutaneous fat, which was accumulated for the winter. That's what happens to this little bat. The fact that the bat needed feeding was indicated by its fallen belly and the hole on the withers between the shoulder blades. The second factor is its weight. For the red-haired party girl, weight indicators of less than 30 grams are already pretty bad. Our bat weighed only 24 grams. By feeding the bat for 10 days with zoophobes and mealworms, we achieved a weight gain of 31.8 grams. Since it already had a supply of fat, we sent the bat to winter into the cellar. In the second half of January throughout February, we visited the cellar several times to check out how our little vampire was doing. And he was just sleeping soundly and seemed to be in the same position in the same place every single time. By the way, if initially the bat was hanging upside down on the bars, then it climbed out onto the fabric that was covered with the cage and snuggled down there. Spring has come, but it's not that simple. Bats come out of hibernation only in the second half of spring. At this time, the insects that make up their diet appear, so bats already have something to eat. When the 1st of March came, we decided to take the bat to the hangar. We will carry out a weigh-in there and decided what to do with the bats next. Just in case, we put on gloves, otherwise nobody would be smiling at being bitten by this specific animal. In the warmth of the hangar, the party girl woke up, opened up her eyes, and her breathing quickened. I wonder if she remembers up, or if she's already forgotten. Whatever, we'll figure that out later, but for now, the weigh-in. We have the bat that is not yet fully woken up on the scales. The current weight of the animal was 27.1 grams. Well, minus 4 grams in a month and a half is really not that bad. But on the other hand, she has to sleep for another month and a half, and the weight has already become less than the norm of 30 grams for these animals. So it's time to resume feeding. We first put the bat in a warm place, so its body will wake up much faster, and the digestive processes necessary for additional feeding will start. Meanwhile, while the bat was warming up, we rushed to the pet store and brought something delicious for her. Unfortunately, they didn't have any zoophobe larvae, so we will be content with mealworms. Just listen to that funny sound that they make. We have selected exactly 50 larvae for feeding. By weight, it turned out to be 5.5 grams. Feeding time. As soon as we offered the animal the first larva, the bat immediately pounced on it and began to munch. Of course, the last time she ate was 6 weeks ago. And the most amazing thing is apparently bats have memory, because last time we had to suffer to feed the animal. The fact is that bats feed exclusively on the fly, so it took a long time for the mouse to realize that if we give it a larva, then you just have to take it and eat it. This time she immediately attacked the offered treat. In the last video, we said that the bat was not overfed, and so it should be given food until it's full. It turns out that even in the summer, these bats are incredibly voracious. In one night, they can eat a number of mosquitoes, moths, beetles, caterpillars, spiders, and other insects and arthropods weighing half their own body weight. About 30% of the diet consists of mosquitoes alone. Bats can rightfully be called biological weapons in the fight against insect pets. So they are actually extremely useful animals, and not some sort of dangerous vampires as is commonly believed. In total, in a few minutes, the bat devoured all 50 larvae selected by us. I had to take another 50 pieces for her. This time, the portion weight was 4.9 grams. The animal ate the second portion without such enthusiasm as the first, but also ate quite a lot. After counting the remainder, we found out that the bat did not finish only 14 larvae. In total, she ate 8 of the 10 of them in one feeding. The weight of the remainder was 1.4 grams. It turns out that the bat has now eaten exactly 9 grams of food. This figure is a third of her body weight. Quite a strong appetite, although you can get hungry in a month and a half, right? Well, having eaten enough, the bat now goes back to rest. On the evening of the second day, namely in the evenings, it is necessary to feed the bat, because she was kind of hyperactive. She has already managed to come out of hibernation and is eager to fight. But it's only in the hangar that it's warm outside now, +3 in the afternoon, and at night, the temperature is generally below 0. I wonder how much weight the evening person managed to gain after the first feeding, given that yesterday she ate exactly 9 grams of larvae. Weighing showed that the current mass of the bat is exactly 29 grams. That is, the bat gained almost 2 grams of weight in just a day, which is really bad. For the second feeding, 100 larvae were selected at once and whose weight was 9.6 grams. By the way, a funny fact is that in 24 hours, several times more excrement came out of the bat naturally than in the last month and a half. That's what suspended animation and getting out of it means. On the second day, the bat ate the larvae no longer at the same speed as yesterday, while it managed to eat even more than 100 pieces and only 2 larvae remained. Well, a few pieces remained at the feeding site, but the evening party refused water today. In principle, the larvae are quite juicy, so you can get moisture from them. When we collected and weighed all of the leftovers, we were shocked by the original 9.6 grams. There were only 0.6 left. It turns out that for the second day in a row, the mouse ate exactly 9 grams of floury, crunchy larvae. This is probably the optimal portion for her. By the way, we have had this bat for a long time, and we just wondered about its gender. Having reliably fixed the animal, we found out that actually she was a he. Interestingly enough, what kind of liquid is dripping directly onto the video here? Apparently the bat didn't like the definition of his sex too much. It's time to move on to the third, perhaps the last feeding, but first we'll weigh it to find out what mass the bat has. The weight of the animal was 29.8 grams. It is just a little bit short of the required norm. Based on the weight and the pace of gaining the necessary weight, it was decided to feed the mini bat for only 5 days. Before the last feeding, the weight of the animal was 30.3 grams. So the plan is this. Tonight we feed the bat, at night the resulting food is digested, and tomorrow we send it back into the cellar. We put the cage with the bat in the cellar until mid-April. Before the onset of real spring, with the insects already up here, he will just have time to sleep more. April is already in full swing, so now it's time for the bat to leave the cellar, even if it has become warmer, and now the temperature here is +5 degrees Celsius. Now we'll take a look at how the animal's body weight was affected by another month and a half of hibernation. The weighing showed that the bat lost weight again. Now his weight is 27.2 grams. And it is not good for guests to go hungry, so we will arrange another feeding for the bat. But, of course, first we will put it in the heat so that its metabolism starts again. And now you can eat and move forward to graduation. All we have left to do is to take a farewell selfie for our Instagram stories, and so you can finally release the little mosquito catcher. We especially waited until the sun sank below the horizon so that the most comfortable time for the animal would be at ready, and we chose a place near the reservoir where insects are already beginning to fly, potential food for the bat, and then just let him go forever. Although he is still in no hurry to fly away, he sat down on our glove and looks as if he's saying goodbye to us. But a long farewell is unnecessary tears, so our little bat spread his wings, let out a characteristic squeak, and disappeared into the distance, flying towards new adventures. We're gonna miss him, but that's it for today. Bye-bye.